Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round one recap for this week's PGA Championship. And joining me to break it all down, it's Kyle Porter. KP, good evening.
I am exhausted.
It's been a long day.
It's a long day. It's always like, you know how on Friday afternoon of majors, you feel like it's like an out of body experience because you've been watching golf for 36 straight hours. That's how I feel already. So maybe I'm just getting old, but Thursday was, I freaking love this tournament. And I love that it's being played at Kiawah. I think Kiawah is awesome. I think it's set up great. I thought Thursday was just fantastic. I loved all 12 hours of it.
I agree. I think it shows very well on television. I think it is a challenging yet fair test. I think the greens, and again, I can only just see this on TV, they look so pure. I don't know what it is. They look unbelievably manicured, and I'm enjoying this thoroughly.
Yeah, they do. I think Adam Scott was talking about that. I think I heard the Shotgun Start guys saying that Adam Scott talked about how this is as pure as greens get, and I think it has to do with I always screw up the name
Paspalum.
Yeah. See, I screwed it up. I think it has to do with. I read this article on Golf Week where it was talking about the superintendent was talking about how you can just. This is not what he said, but you can just murder that grass and you can't kill it.
He definitely did not say that. Not word for word.
But he used some very aggressive wording where he's like, you can just be incredibly firm with it, and it just keeps growing. He's like, you actually have to be careful not for it to not grow too much. And so I think that has something to do. But it just the way the contrast of the greens with how kind of wasty the fairway areas and the bunker, for lack of a better term, areas is really, really cool looking. It's been a long day.
Right at the end of the telecast or the coverage window, when Shane Lowry was like, "Yeah, I just want to hit it down into the bunker," and the rules official was like, "There are no bunkers." And Shane Lowry, I know there are no bunkers technically, but I'm just gonna hit it down into that thing. It was it's great. Everyone trying to figure out what the word is for the
which is such a condescending thing. I get it. It's technically this is the PGA Tour doesn't run the PGA. I understand, but it's a PGA Tour event. It's that kind of thing.
Corey Connors shoots a 67, 1 bogey, offset by 6 birdies, 5 under par, and 2 shots clear of his closest chaser. And KP, this was effortless, seemingly. I mean, his swing always looks effortless, but he was rarely in trouble, and he did it on the hard end of the draw. The afternoon wave played nearly a stroke more difficult than the guys in the morning. So however impressive you thought this round was on Thursday, it was even more impressive because he did it in the afternoon.
Well, and that back nine was a joke. I mean, the back nine's 37.8, I think is the average score on Thursday. And maybe even a little higher. It's probably around 38 in the afternoon. And he shot 33, and it could have been 32 or 31. I mean, the way he hit it on the second nine, it always looks, his swing is so does it look like his hands are leading the way? When he swings? Have you ever noticed that?
Interesting. Yeah, it's and he has this very it's a non-rigid left arm that he just kind of whips it through. It's very, I like watching it, but I don't know if I would ever teach that to somebody, but it gets the job done in an unbelievable way.
I feel like I would tear something if I tried to swing like that, but it's very compelling. And look, I mean, it's the phrase that we use with so many of these top guys. If they putt well, they're going to be, and we're going to talk about probably Colin Morikawa a little bit later. He putted well also, but Connors had for him a great putting day, and he's had a couple of those. Where did he pop up a couple weeks ago? Was it Valspar where he had a couple great putting days? Do you remember?
That sounds right. I don't have it in front of me, but that sounds.
It was somewhere around there where you're like, oh, Corey Connors is plus plus 1.5, plus 2 strokes on the greens and around. And when he does that, it's hard for him to shoot anything over par, even at a place like Kiawah. So I don't know. I mean, look, like I like him. I think he's a worthy first round leader, but is Corey Connors going to go wire to wire at the PGA? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it wouldn't be shocking, but there's just so many horses and there's so much that can happen, especially at a place like Kiawah. I don't know. I don't have a ton of confidence about him going wire to wire.
That tournament you might be thinking of might have been the RBC Heritage, but if Corey Connors is going to go wire to wire, or at least contend throughout this thing, it's probably going to be due to his ball striking, because he gained 3.7 strokes on the greens on Thursday. That unlikely to happen again, especially for Corey Connors' notorious poor putter. The one thing I knew before we move on, I knew he was feeling it, KP, when he did a quick tee pickup on 17, which is like the most treacherous hole that these guys are just like keeping the closest of eye on their ball, sweating it until it stops moving. He's picking it up as it's like halfway there. I'm like, he's just feeling it right now.
And the way he played that hole, you're like, why didn't everybody play it? It looks so easy, you know, but then you remember, oh, well, it's like whatever, 205 to just cover the water, or I don't know what the number was. I think the hole was playing, was it 214 or 224, something like that. So to cover the water is probably 190, or I don't know, wherever, depends on like what angle you're taking. And so you're like, oh, well, just to cover the water, it takes an unbelievable shot. So that's why not everybody plays 17 like Corey Connors did.
Notorious major guy, I don't know what to call him, Brooks Koepka.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. First of all, I think as we entered the week, there were more questions than answers about Brooks Koepka. He goes out and he makes double on his very first hole, number 10, which was a debacle for his entire group. And I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. Brooks is in for a very short week, but to his credit, gets one right back at 11, makes birdie there. He actually turns in even par and then makes 3 more birdies on his second 9. And wouldn't you know it, Brooks Koepka T2 after the opening round of the PGA Championship.
Did you see his second shot on 10 when Rory was dropping?
I saw it because it was in the background of what Rory was doing.
you kind of heard the DJ just doubled 18, by the way. He shot 76. Great round, DJ. Wow. You hear this thump in the background. You're like, what was that? Like, did Rory hit his bat? Like, it was weird. And then you see Brooks like walk into his ball in the bunker. And it was that whole sequence, that whole first hole for them was bizarre. But I think what was so interesting about Brooks, he hit it terribly off the tee. I mean, he's off on, 15, almost like in the ocean. He was all over the yard, and he was unbelievable with his irons. And so it didn't, like, he played great, and he's always a problem at, like, when he's leading a major, especially at a tough place like this. You give him a little bit of a head start, and it's like, this is problematic. But it didn't feel like it was like really clicking from tee to green, if that makes sense. I know his tee to green numbers are pretty good because he hit some unreal iron shots, but they felt like, is that repeatable? I mean, what I'm saying, and he said this also, he's like, if I keep driving it like this, I have no shot on Sunday. And right. I think that's fair. I think you got to figure that out going into the weekend. But I mean, I don't know. He just has such a cockiness, like when he gets in the lead, and that to me is like half the battle at a place, especially at a place like Kiawah. You know, we saw it at Bethpage, different places that are so tough, and he's going to be fascinating to watch over the next 3 days.
Yeah, it's like we're still half a shot per round. Does he know? Does anyone know? I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just he figures out a way to do it. There's a couple of guys with a few holes to play, but he's leading the field in strokes gained approach through Thursday. I don't know. He doesn't look great, but he's figuring out a way. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I won't be healthy for 6 months. Oh, I felt fine. And it's like, well, what is it? Like, what? I don't know. It's kind of annoying, but he played great on Thursday.
In that chase pack, and there are a bunch of them, Victor Hovland in there. He went out this morning. He shot a 69, one bogey on the card. He bogeyed number one, offsets that with 4 birdies. And this was your classic, like Victor Hovland, just looking good, looking smooth, hitting great shots. And when you look up, he's in contention again.
Yeah, he had an interesting quote. I was reading his transcript afterwards where he says maybe the best he's ever felt on a golf course. And this is somebody who's won twice on the PGA Tour, won the USAM, won literally all over the world, won a bunch he won team events in college. I think he won a couple individual events at Oklahoma State as well. So he's very accustomed to winning and playing great golf. And he's like, this is the best I've ever felt. And so I think that's instructive because I think it means he's really comfortable at a place that is wants to force you to be uncomfortable, right? Like that's the Pete Dye sort of mantra, is to always be uncomfortable. And he clearly is not so far. So it feels like he's the biggest contender, I think, of him and maybe Morikawa of the top 10 guys right now. Is that fair? Depending on how you feel about like Koepka's ability to hold it together for 4 rounds.
Yeah, because we haven't seen Koepka play. I mean, this is his best round in a long time now. That granted, he hasn't played much, which you could argue, but yeah, I think Morikawa, who played pretty poorly when you watch his round, a lot of like scratching the head, a lot of one hand finishes, and he's right in the mix. But him and Hovland, man, I mean, Hovland was phenomenal. Every single category gained strokes, looked cool, calm, and collected as he always does. Smiles his way through it. Yeah, these guys are contenders.
I think that I didn't realize. That might be an unfair way to say it. I didn't understand like how, like Hovland's really popular. Like people love him because he's so endearing, right? He does that thing with his caddy where he's like, how much to cover the crap, and then he gets up and down for par, and then he's kind of messing.
He rakes his bunker, rakes it himself.
Yeah, he rakes his own bunkers.
He pays a guy to do that. He's out there raking it himself.
Waste area, sorry, not bunker. He's taking jabs at people, but also at himself in the post round press. He's incredibly endearing in a sport and in an industry that doesn't tend to kind of spit out endearing people. And maybe that's because he's 24 years old or whatever, and maybe at 34 it won't be the same. But he's I thought Noah Lane upset it well on Thursday. He's very easy to root for. He's very, very easy to pull for, and I think he would be a very popular person or player to get behind come the weekend.
He certainly would be, and there will be a couple of people in the chat who'll be upset if we don't talk about Keegan Bradley, who is also in that chase pack. KP, he was very close to a 0 putter on Thursday. That has been the recipe for him for the last couple of weeks. It's why he's popped up and he's been near the top of the leaderboard early and often, so this should not be much of a surprise. But what he actually kind of did, which I thought was more interesting than his round, is he kind of gave away the secret on 18, which is hope those guys in the grandstands are wearing hard hats, fire it over there, get your relief, and play 18 that way. And there were a lot of guys who took that route on Thursday.
Yeah, that's not great. That is, I mean, that's fine for them. Like, I'm not blaming players. That's kind of what I guess you should do, or at least that should be your miss. That should for sure be your miss. And maybe you should just aim over there. But that's not a great situation for this tournament because, and producer Jacob pointed this out earlier, we were talking about it, and he was like, what if this is like late on Sunday and that's the play? Like that's bad. Like that's going to be a bad situation. So I'm interested to see if because I don't know if you have the pin was front right. And so maybe like, I think a lot of the players' point was like, you have a great angle from over there. Like it's a better angle than if you're kind of in the middle of the fairway where we saw JT try to get to, and then he made double or triple or whatever. So I wonder if they just move that pin back left or middle left the rest of the week and change the tees, and maybe you take that being a benefit completely out of play.
Yeah, or it's not as advantageous to be coming in from over there because you don't have the better angle. So we'll see. But right. Sebastian Munoz also found the trash can over there. which is, in my argument, the greatest golfing achievement of all time. He could never do that again. 1,000,000 balls, he could never do it again.
It's very memeable. Like looking for your all your Spieth tweets for the last 3 years. Yeah. Looking for Brooks's hat. That was the no laying up one. That was pretty good.
He also didn't want to reach in there and grab it, which I don't blame him. He was like looking around like, who's gonna get this?
whose hat was how about Cantlay having two eagles on he just finished 2 eagles on the front 9 and he shoots 36. That's not great. Whose hat was worse, Spieth or Brooksy?
Brooks's was the worst. Yeah, Spieth's was Spieth's baseline's pretty low at this point because
he's just normal. He's normalized the atrocity. That's the only reason you're saying Brooks. Brooks is bad.
I'm used to seeing it. Brooks was bad. All right. We got to talk about some of the big names: Rory, McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, even DB, who was not straight vibing on Thursday. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. Rory McIlroy has an issue, KP. Not sure if you're aware, with not only the opening round of major championships, but the first hole of major championships. Lost his ball, one shot into this thing, ends up actually only making bogey, which it could have been a lot worse on number 10 there. But Rory versus round 1 at majors is becoming a heavyweight bout that he is routinely losing.
Somebody should have memed the Sebastian Munoz looking in the trash can for Rory's first rounds at majors.
It's bad.
You did some research on this. What did you find?
All right, so here it is. I went back the last 9 major championships for Rory McIlroy, and he has played the opening hole, the first hole of his last 9 majors, 8 over. Obviously, the quadruple bogey in the 19 Open Championship, but he only has made 2 pars and 1 birdie. The rest are bogeys, man. It's just like, it's tough.
I was talking to Andy Johnson of the Fried Egg about this before the tournament. It feels so mental, right? Yeah. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I can't watch what I've watched and not think that it's mental. And I don't know if, I can't remember if he's talked about the first hole specifically, but it's almost like you expect it, right? Like I got texts from people like, what, expect anything different? Like the Dan Hicks thing. And it's like, no, I didn't. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's frustrating. I don't think that I'm trying to think of he didn't hit any greens. Like he because I don't think he drove it that badly. I've got his numbers in front of me. He did drive it kind of poorly. He was just kind of lousy all the way around. He didn't look sharp. He just didn't look just
sharp.
A lackluster, disappointing performance.
Which you could argue is the same adjectives that I would use for Dustin Johnson's round for like the middle 11-ish holes. This was weird. He doubles 4. Wait, did he start on? Hold on. Did he start on the front or the back?
DJ started on 1 because he just finished on 18. Real quick, one more thing on Rory. I thought this was like him and Brooks both drove it really badly, right? And Brooks just pounded greens. Brooks hit all 9 greens on his back 9, on the front 9 on the course. And Brooks was 6 better than Rory on the par 5 specifically. Rory was 3 over, Brooks was 3 under. And that was the difference in their scores. Brooks shot 69 and Rory shot 75. So those were 2 other points that I wanted to make about them.
It all adds up. So DJ doubles 4, and then he makes 11 straight pars before he doubles 18. And I actually think in the middle there, he didn't play all that poorly. He didn't really make any putts, didn't really get any momentum, didn't take advantage of the par 5s. And DJ, at the end of the day, a 4 over 76. And now he's going to probably need, he won't need something special to make the cut, but he's going to have to shoot something a couple under par.
Yeah. I've never seen so many one-handed finishes from him. I don't know what he looks, for somebody who hits basically the same shot every time, right? He has one shot that he hits. It's like the Mariano Rivera cutter. He just hits this one shot and it's awesome. It's like the best shot in the world. He just looked so out of sorts. Like he's one-handed. He looked like Hideki out there, one-handed finishing. It was weird. And I don't know if the knee is lingering. I don't know what's going on, but he definitely looks off kilter. I did not There hasn't been good vibes from him all week, but Thursday was just not very inspiring at all.
Quickly here on Berger. I mean, there's always, I feel like in every major championship, there's one of these guys. There's one of these guys that comes out of nowhere and shoots a 79. That person today was Daniel Berger, who always solid, yet starts his championship bogey, double, then bogey. That is straight from my collection of scorecards. That is should not be in the repertoire of Daniel Berger.
Yeah, thankfully he was my one and done this week, so I feel great about that. He might be just vibing all the way back to Jew play early
Sam Burns
tomorrow.
Sam Burns took his early exit. Now he did cite a back injury, so Sam, if you're hurting, hope you're feeling better. But he struggled out of the gate. And he said, "I'm gonna head home as well." Thank you very much.
The Berger. So I was thinking about this. Berger and Billy Horschel combined to shoot 14 over par, and they were playing with Steve Stricker, like a Ryder Cup tryout or whatever. I don't. That's not what it was, but I'm sure it was like it. There was at least something related to the Ryder Cup there, and they combined to shoot 153 or whatever.
It's like when a job interview goes sideways.
Yeah, not great. Can we talk about Phil?
Sure, Phil looks good.
He looked. I mean, what in the world? He's tweeting me about like cryptocurrency before his round.
I was late to the party on this. I saw this like hours later because I saw and I was like, wait, Phil? Oh, wow, this is amazing. I was like, great tweet. And then also Phil replied, and it was awesome. And he's out there just replying to tweets, shooting 2 under par.
He was great. And it's weird because I don't know. We saw this at Quail Hollow, right? Like he played great in the first round there, and so you're kind of like, I don't know. But for him to just to play one round like this at Kiawah of all places, like you have to be incredible from tee to green, and that's not really his MO right now. I mean, we've talked about it. He's played better over the last couple months, but I tweeted this at No Lane Up. Like you didn't expect Phil to play great. Where you have to like kind of place your driver and your big misses are exacerbated, like
right.
And Phil shot 70. I don't understand how that happens. It was cool though.
He gained more strokes off the tee than Victor Hovland. He gained more strokes on approach than, let's see, I'm trying to find a good example here. Paul Casey, noted ball striker, gained more strokes putting than, let's see. Paul Casey, Denny McCarthy. How about that? I mean, this is like he's putting it together. Phil, all around game.
The back nine. I mean, he made 4 bogeys in his first 6 holes, and then he shoots 2 under. I mean, that's that back nine was hard, and he was locked in. It was pretty cool. It was really cool. Yeah. And his post round, like when he was explaining how he loves Kiawah because the slope on the greens is not as extreme as some other places that they go to. Like, I freaking love stuff like that. I think it's so interesting. And whenever he doesn't try to get like in Bryson mode and make things more complicated than they actually are, I think he's tremendous at making complex things very simple for the average fan like you and me.
Yeah, he's going to be, they're going to back up the Brinks truck when it's time for him to sit in the booth because it's going to be unbelievable stuff, and they should pay him whatever it costs. Our friends over at William Hill have installed Corey Connors as your favorite after the opening round. He is 7-1 with a 2-shot lead. The chase pack includes Victor Hovland. He is 8-1. Brooks Koepka, he is 10-1. Colin Morikawa is 1 shot back of those guys. He's 2 under at 14-1. And then Jon Rahm, here's a real respectful number. Jon Rahm, who I believe finished at even par today, he did next at 16-1 KP. A lot of love for Rahm.
What did he shoot?
Even par.
72. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because Bryson said after his round that he's like, look, 3 under out here is not that much. He was like, but also going to 4 over is not that hard either. He's like, he was talking about how extreme your scores can be. And so I think for Rahm could be 2 back tomorrow. Right. Like it's not like we have a long way to go. I think I think Bryson is I think Bryson's the best number on there. Spieth was 1 over. How is he on this?
His name's Jordan Spieth. People love him. 22.
But Bryson,
Spieth is 22. Bryson's 20.
Bryson's the guy that his numbers fit that profile that we're looking for, right? Where he was awesome from tee to green, didn't make anything, and he kind of talked about that afterward. He thought he hit it well, and the numbers show that he did. And he made all those bogeys in a row. It was 4 straight bogeys, but he hit it overall. He hit it great, which I didn't really anticipate or expect. I thought he'd be okay. But I worry about him. I worry about Rahm mentally a little bit. Like, it can just get so frustrating and you can get bad bounces. And I don't know. I'm not convinced that I think Morikawa or Bryson are the play, but I have more confidence, I think, in Morikawa.
I thought Morikawa was the best number. You know, the difference between him and Hovland, and I love Hovland, but the difference between him and Hovland from 8-1 to 14-1 for one shot, I did not think that was worth that. So I thought Morikawa was the best number. But if you were like, which of these guys is probably just most likely to win, I think it might be Hovland. He's so good. And he didn't even putt. I mean, he gained a stroke on the greens, and he was a 0 around the greens. That's great.
I get a little worried about he's talked about it. He's like, I get so nervous on Sunday. I mean, playing. I know.
They all get nervous. They all get nervous.
I know. But playing 14
He's just the only one who's going to tell you that. He's the only one willing to tell you he gets nervous.
Dude, how insane were the last 5 holes?
So Data Golf has that great visual, the hole by hole, how difficult they are. And it's just like a little bar chart. And it's like, this one's this big, and the next one's this big, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. I'm like, holy crap. It's like Murderer's Row, the final 5 holes of this event. Look, producer Jacob's going to try to pull it up here on the spot.
Yeah,
it is like, it is great. Look at this. The last 6 holes are just a gauntlet.
Yeah. If you play the last 5, I guess the last 6 in even par, I think you're gaining over 2 strokes on the field.
Starting on 10 too. I feel like, I don't know. Do you want to, if you start on 10, you get to play 11, and then you don't get another crack at a birdie hole until 7, which I feel like could be grueling, but also ending your rounds after like 5 hours, having to go through 13 through 18 also doesn't seem ideal.
I think I'd rather start on 1 because you get so the, yeah, I think that's the, I think I'd rather start on 1 because you don't,
there's nowhere to hide. That's the thing. There's nowhere to hide.
Because, think about the win. So the first 4 or 5 are, at least on Thursday, we're into the wind. And then you get your next 10 downwind. And then your last 5 in. I think that's what I'd want. I like that. I like the symmetry of that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And look at that. The afternoon wave, almost a full shot more difficult, which,
wow.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Connor, that makes Connor's 66 look
even better.
Awesome. What else? What else intrigued you on Friday or Thursday?
Oh, I don't know. I think we covered a lot of it. I think the combination of, you kind of mentioned it, these waste areas, things that can get you into a big number. The balls are plugging in these things like crazy, right? So like, you are just at the mercy of whatever this course is going to give you, but it's still at the same time very fair. I'm really enjoying it so far.
I am too. And what I thought was interesting, other than 17, I don't know that there's a hole that really stands out like, oh, that's an awesome hole or that's a unique hole. But the totality of the course, I think it's almost like, I don't know. I don't, with other courses, you kind of look at specific holes and take them for face value as the whole. Like, think about Augusta, how unique each hole is. I don't really think that way here. I just think about like the whole thing and what you did at the whole thing, which I don't know if that's a better or worse way to look at it, but I'm with you. I think it's just I think it's a fair, awesome. It's the way that every tournament should be. And that's like a ridiculous thing to say because you can't always go to Kiawah, you can't always set it up like this, but it just is like the best. Whoever is hitting the golf ball best this week will win the golf tournament. I
agree. Real quick, do you wear contact lenses?
No, is this a Kevin Na thing?
Yeah. So Kevin Na loses his contact lens on 7, proceeds to bogey and double bogey, a bunch of holes coming in, whatever. If you are a professional golfer and you wear contact lenses, should you not have an extra backup set in your bag? Should you not have a pair of glasses in there? Like, seems like something. I mean, there's plenty of room in those bags. Maybe throw a little something in there.
Some Chris Sabo rec specs.
Yeah, strap them around, right? Yeah. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Kevin Na did that? But he's got to have a plan. We're playing for $2 million, Kevin.
I could actually see him doing that. that would be awesome. What else? How far back is too far back?
Pretty far, I think.
Do you know what the deepest anybody's come from to win after the first round is over the last 20 years?
No, so I'll just say 7 shots.
Very close. 8. Keegan was 8 back in 2011. I think Steve Stricker led that year after round 1.
So if we say anybody within 8, that's the oh no, I guess it's the 3 overs. Although if you want to say the real lead is not 5 over or 5 under, so that gets JT's in play. He's 3 over if you want to go that far. But I think anybody realistically, the ones are definitely in play, especially if Connors does not gain 3.7 strokes putting again. He comes back to the field a little bit. Somebody shoots. Yeah, there's a lot of guys in this thing. A lot. I think what Connors is. Yeah, I think 5 is the real lead. That's like fair. He's a real leader. I said he shot 66 earlier. He shot 67. Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday was awesome. It was just, I hope Friday's half as fun because I had a blast. I thought it was great course, great board, great, just tiny incidents that happen that just make the whole thing just so much fun. It's just the best. Major weeks are the best.
Friday will be great. Oh, producer Jacob, here's a good one. John Catlin got a slow play a legit stroke penalty. For apparently he was on the clock and then he had 2 shots that took him over 60 seconds. And the second one, he got assessed a real life penalty stroke, which I cannot tell you the last time that's ever happened.
It feels like a John Catlin died so Ricky could live situation. Like those were the 2 sponsor invites, which, yeah, I mean, I'm halfway kidding. I didn't see it. I didn't see him. I didn't see a shot. I didn't see anything, but it feels like, it does feel like the kind of no-name guys get picked on a little bit. Remember when Guan, I can't say his name, but the 14-year-old at the Masters got the slow play. Yes. It's like, why doesn't like Shane Lowry ever get a slow play?
They would never. Well, first of all, I know this isn't the PGA Tour, but they would never pick on a member, and they would never pick on a big name player. I mean, these guys take so much time to do everything. Like, we're counting seconds on John Catlin in the PGA Championship at Kiawah? No, you're doing too much.
It's yeah. It's like, well, it happens like once every 7 years, and you're like, well, that's not like either just don't do it at all or actually apply it. Don't just arbitrarily dish it out once every 6, 7, 8 years. I don't know. Maybe
also the other thing is, okay, so when does the clock start and when does it not? Okay, if he takes 67 seconds from the time he gets to his ball to hit a shot, that doesn't seem like all that much. What about when Brandon Grace takes calls for a rules official to ask the rules official where his ball crossed, and the rules official gets there 9 minutes later and is like, I don't know, that's up to you. Like, that's what we waited for? Like, that is what we waited for? Like, there's just, none of it makes any sense.
Well, and to the credit of the people applying the rules, it's impossible to apply. Like you like, how do you know? Like, is it when the rules of it's just the whole thing is, who knows? Maybe he cursed out a rules official and was just screaming at him and dared him to give him a penalty. I don't. Who can say? We didn't see it.
At this point, I hope he did. I hope it was worth it. Get your money's worth. Get your strokes worth, man. All right, KP. That'll do it for round one. We are obviously going to be back after each and every round of this week's PGA Championship, breaking it all down, usually when the coverage ends, something like that. But for now, let me thank producer Jacob. He does all the hard work behind the scenes. Let me thank Kyle Porter. You can find him on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. He's usually there, the one mixing it up with Phil Mickelson before the round. You'll see him.
And you crypto.
And you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut.